All right, good enough. Welcome. This is Lit Bomb, your anodyne in this time of pandemic, your literary relief. And today we are honoring the magnificent 100,000 Poets for Change with a reading with almost that many readings. We have our open mic today. We have a cavalcade of brilliant readers. The rules of the road, folks, are one poem, 3 minutes each. And give us a one-line bio of yourself before you read. A one-line bio of yourself before you read. Mark and I and Jonathan will warm up the open mic, and let me now introduce my good friend and co-host, Jonathan Penton.
I'm muting the room real quick, and then Mullen, okay. And unmute Larissa. Thanks for your patience.
Are we good? Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. In 1998, Jonathan Penton founded UnlikelyStories.org, which has been running as a continuously updated web magazine since then. Unlikely Stories spawned a daughter company, Unlikely Books, which publishes 3 to 5 poetry books per year. Jonathan has lent editorial and management assistance to a number of literary and artistic ventures, such as the New Orleans Poetry Festival, Mad Hat Inc., and Big Bridge. He has organized literary performances in Alabama, Arkansas, California, Chihuahua, Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Louisiana, Massachusetts, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Texas, and Washington State and DC. His books are The Last Chap, Virgin Press, 2004, Blood and Salsa and Painting Rust, Unlikely Books, Prosthetic Gods, New Sins Press, Wing City Chapbooks, Standards of Sidity, Lit Fest Press, and the free eChap Backstories, which you can download for free from Argotist eBooks. Jonathan, take it away.
Thank you, Larissa. Alrighty, so I'm your sacrificial poet for this evening, and I'm going to read one piece. It's a prayer for Louisiana and the style of the late poet Michel Greenblatt. Oh, morning cracklin', children dancing, in summer camps to 90s beats. Oh, Texas swing, oh, German squeeze box, oh, rallies for our virgins lost. Oh, king of cookouts, Lord of Hennessy, bless us with the magic of your fantastic Cadillac. Oh, queen of daiquiris, dressed in emeralds, your ass a shelf on which 2 beer cans can stand. Oh, master of festivals, older than Paul, prince of the power of the mysteries in the air. Oh, mistress of burials. And we who see no difference between vengeance and escape, we who have challenged Ozymandias to a foot race, we who seek the feminine in necklaces of pearls, we who seek the masculine in Christmas ornament beards. O float that honors Han Solo's passing, O float that mocks a lynching victim, O theater marathon for Amy and Charles Schumer, O 600th ride for bicyclists' respect. We whose hotel skyscrapers reach from cliff to swamp. We who feel unsettled if we aren't building in the sand. O Fedado, O second line, O gentle command in the cry room. May our every wound become radiant on your Dionysian heat. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Wow.
All right, next up is my friend and partner in this venture, Marc Vincenz. Marc Vincenz is an Anglo-Swiss poet, a fiction writer, translator, editor, publisher, designer, multi-genre artist, and musician. He has published 14 books of poetry, including more recently, Becoming the Sound of Bees, Leaning into the Infinite, The Syndicate of Water and Light, and Here Comes the Night Dust. Vincenz's newest collection, The Little Book of Earthly Desires, and a novella set in ancient China, 3 Dells of Tao, or How to Catch a Fortuitous Elephant, are both forthcoming in 2021 from Spiked and Dival. An album of music, ambience, and verse, Left Hand Clapping, is also forthcoming from Tree Torn Records. Vincenz is a prolific translator and has translated from the German, Romanian, and French. He has published 10 books of translations, most recently Unexpected Development by Swiss poet and novelist Klaus Mertz, which was a finalist for the 2016 Cliff Becker Book Prize in Translation. His poems have been published in journals such as The Nation, Plowshares, the Los Angeles Review, and Plume. His work has received fellowships and grants from the Swiss Arts Council, the National Endowments for the Arts, and the Witcher Binner Foundation for Poetry. He's the editor and publisher of Mad Hat Press and publisher of New American Writing. He has lived all over the world, from Brazil to China to Iceland to India. He was born in Matilda Hospital on the Pink in Hong Kong, but now lives on a farm in rural western Massachusetts, overlooking Herman Melville's Greylock Mountain, where there are more coyotes and bears than people. Marc, you have the mic.
Thank you, Jonathan. This poem is called Before We Continue, and it comes from my new book that I've been working on, which is called All the Tricks of Language. Before we continue with this circumference, sewed into your 7 pockets, you will find our real intentions. The absolute glorifies the mental status of the who and the how, the where and the when, all by the rule of thumb. A mind's trapeze dancing on the breathing. Not there, here. In the dark wood, you may see your spine growing into its several severs until the last form becomes a walk in late summer. And a rose awakens, babbling in the wind. These lovers understand those moments as if they were eternity. The right rib pines for her fig leaves. The yin and yang divided, the united put asunder. The absolute demands yet more than the poet's code. All these cosmic rhymes, the notes of a psychic violinist, the soldier in his discharge, the fool in his ballad, all humanity in her colored garters. Oh, that gliding, that sensuous form that commands. The this will be some time. Now the blood warms. How the cheeks flush. How it all turns and they fling themselves into the woods, into the night, and her will, into that careless solitude. So, a new one. And now we have Larissa reading for us. Larissa is a poet, novelist, translator, editor, and critic. Her new novel is Sly Bang from Spite and Dival. Her first novel was Patient Women from Blazebox. Her poetry collections are Medusa's Country, Special Characters, In Paran, and the chapbook A Cure for Suicide from Cervena Barva Press, and the ebook Fib Sequence from Argotist eBooks. A new poetry collection, Dora Laura, is forthcoming from Salmon Poetry. Larissa's poetry albums are The No Net World and Exorcism, for which she won the New Century Best Spoken Word Album Award. All tracks are available on the major digital distributors like Spotify and iTunes. Larissa's work has appeared in the anthologies Measure for Measure from Penguin Random House, Contemporary Russian Poetry, Words for the Wedding, Much Obey Little, and Choice Words, Writers on Abortion, and many others. Larissa is the original English language translator of the first futurist opera, Victory Over the Sun, performed at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, the Garage Museum of Moscow, the Brooklyn Academy of Music, and theaters and universities worldwide. Larissa also edited the anthology 21st Century Russian Poetry, which came out from Big Bridge Press, Michael Rothenberg's press, who's here with us today, and is the founder, of course, of 100,000 Poets for Change. And Larissa has also been translated for the Russian Bible, for the Eugene A. Nida Institute for Biblical Scholarship, and her mission in life is to help mentally ill people through writing. Please find out more about her at her website, www.larissashmailo.com. Welcome, Larissa.
All right, thank you so much, Mark. Thanks, everybody. My poem is called War, and it's dedicated to C.K. Williams. 1. Reading the prose of young media scribes, absorbed as they are with sex and money and the need for status, even among orgiasts, I pause. How they claw, struggling for cabs, cars with bars, and the nod from Cerberus at the door of the club, as if from him, his acceptance could come entree to it all, the whole 9 circles of desire. But Buddha was right, and it makes for lousy verse, the cascade to the fallen from fulfilled. The rituals are old, and the same rachitic claw reaches over us all. And so torn we tear, primordial as the air, too. We live in pots, the rich ones know. Their eyes caress medals held tightly to the chest, played closely to the vest, thrown stingily among the just good folks. You won't find the address of an arms factory anywhere. We don't know. An igniter built in Chappaqua, a pullpin glazed in Maine, in Idaho, a shell. We need arms, military muscle, American dough, watch it blow. Skeleton, skeleton, step on a crack, live grenade payback, Jackie rack, shrapnel tears run moist and red. There, he was 6. There, she has no hands. There, his spine is torn. There, a child is gone. 3, a small time to be alive, a very small time to be alive, short enough to pretend that we've done no harm. Thanatos is a blind man's bluff, an ignoramus with a stake. Oh, what were we thinking? A mistake. How did we not know there was really no other? How could we, eyes and legs, mouth and heart, all the same, damn it, same? How could we see anything else but we? No fires or fall, just beloved all. Maybe as the last breath, will we know it as last? As the last breath goes, will we know any we? We might feel another's dying breath, that we might know someone else's as we know our own death. Thank you. All right. Okay. The show begins. Here it goes. I'm so excited. Are you? Hello, folks. You're muted. You can't make any noise, but you can wave your hands and, you know, there we go. This is going to be exciting. All right. Now, readers, the rules of the road. 1 poem, 3 minutes. Give a 1-line bio of yourself before you start. And let me bring up first, sorry about this, Michael, but you are first. Michael Folds. Michael, take the mic. Can we unmute Michael?
How are we doing?
Hey, there we got you. Let's go. Great.
My name is Mike Foldes. I live in upstate New York. I published Ragazine from 2005 until 2019. And since then, I've been kind of hanging out. It's a little different. My poem is called My New Family. And I think it runs fewer than 3 minutes. And I have to say that the 3 poets who read before me are hard acts to follow, so bear with it. My new family. My new family exists in cyberspace. They're not Facebook friends or acquaintances as I manage on MySpace, but the genetic links a cousin in London who has no children of her own discovered in her search for a longer lifeline. Except for Aunt Betty and Uncle Don and their 3 children, we lost touch with my mother's side a long time ago. After my grandparents and great uncle died one after another in the early 50s, 2 cousins in London and another in Alabama were all we thought remained on my father's side, but for one who was said to have come to New Jersey in the 30s and made a fortune as a profiteer. Until this chain of strangers came to be, that is, I had not recognized any of them were we to pass one another walking our dogs on a quiet street, even if we stopped to chat a bit about pets, politics, or the weather. I went with my son to the Holocaust Museum in Washington a few years ago and discovered the Hungarian town Foldes was one of several on the map of disappeared villages, confirming what I'd always known, that we are the last of the last. An Hungarian I met in Greece who was from the same industrial city my father was born in said he didn't know there were any Jews left in Miskolc. That's because they died in the camps. Oh, I'm sorry, he said. I am too. Then the emails began arriving that the childless London cousin had tracked down the profiteer's family. One after another, new names and faces were added on the tree on Jeannie. I watched the leaves grow and wondered, who are these people? What do they mean to me? Really, we have nothing in common. We didn't grow up playing at the beach, hunting, fishing, or hiking together. Our parents did not play pinochle, canasta, or bridge past midnight, slapping cards onto the picnic table at the camp on Sacandaga Lake. Our children were not invited to their birthday parties, nor they to ours. We did not exchange cards on holidays, attend weddings, break bread at the same table, toast our elders on their 80th birthdays, share our grief at funerals. The London cousin catalyzed a clan whose whereabouts is bittersweet. Now we share memories of events that could have happened but never did, and see the meeting of parallel lines that solely exists in cyberspace.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Next up, we have Bill Yarrow. Can we please unmute the lovely and talented Bill Yarrow?
Thank you, Larissa. Thank you, Jonathan and Mark. I'm the author of 12 books of poetry, most recently, Wake Me When the Narcoleptics Arrive. I'm going to read a poem called Chaos Unveiled, which is from my first book, Pointed Sentences. But as I was looking at it last night, it feels especially relevant today. Chaos Unveiled. The moonlight news is brutal. Compassion has been voted down. Human decency has been vandalized. The honed stones have started to float. The siblings of the siblings will never be born. The last of Che Guevara is being eaten by rats. A meager third of a century will be devoted to love. The green heart of the red planet turns transcendentally dark. The last piece of pie may remain the last piece of pie. A man with sighs for eyes sits under a yew tree. He watches acorn after acorn fall into sodden leaves. He watches the past advance on the instability of the present. The future, he tells himself, is the real emigre. He bows his neck to the pagan razor of displacement. Thank you.
Robert, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bill Yarrow. Let's have a hand for Bill Yarrow. Virtual hands, everybody. Thank you very much, Bill. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Next up, we have the wonderful David Daffy. David.
Thank you.
Unmute David.
I always, yeah, thank you.
Hello, my friend. Do you have a poem for us and a bio, a one-sentence bio, please?
Okay, first of all, let me say I'm deeply honored to be here. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Larissa. Thank you, Jonathan. And let me say hi to my distant friend, Mr. Michael Anania, and Ronald Bremner, and Mr. Joshua Colvin, who are here right now. And I'm deeply honored to be among them and share with you some of my new stuff, which has been published by Spectrum Publishing in Pasadena, California. I'm David Daffy. I'm a Georgian-American poet, novelist, essayist, multimedia artist. In Georgian language, I published 8 novels, 15 collections of my poetry, and recorded 3 audio albums with orchestra and electronic band. I started writing in English directly when I arrived in States in 2017, found some job as a cab driver. Right now, I'm on the job right now, and please take my apologies because after my reading, I have to go back to work, and don't take it as a rudeness from my side because time is very precious. And let me start in my poem and let me share it with you. It's called Echoes of Cornelius Street Cafe in New York City. It's for me, it was a deadly event when in Manhattan, Cornelius Street Cafe was just shut down. And thank God I attended a couple of readings there. And all my imaginations now are here. Who moves forward is always lucky. One more of your breath has come and has gone. Who still believes is always laughing and able to unlock all the secret doors. I walked. My footstep echoes burn the street. Out to Duffy, the act of faith, Cornelius Street Cafe. I feel as if I am remembering this scene before. I opened the door to my own heart. I saw your secrets there, and I forget. I've been thinking about war, about the reason for war and death, how we lost or how we won, how we used to be then to try to correct the mistakes or be unmistakable. Could we start again? So long since you've been missing, my calmness, my friend. Bleeding hearts of artists, breathing art of silence. How about we don't let this happen again? How about we forget this? Yes, forget.
Thank you, David. And God bless the Cornelius Street Cafe. That was a great thing. Thank you, David. Thank you, David, very much. A hand, please, for David Daffy, everybody. Thank you. Great.
Thank you.
All right. Now, next up, and he's going to talk a little bit about 100,000 Poets for Change. We have the founder of the feast, Mr. Michael Rothenberg, co-organizer of the magnificent and the amazing 100,000 Poets for Change. He's going to tell us a little bit about that and read a poem. And Michael, can we hear from you now? Michael Rothenberg.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, co-founder with Terry Carrion of 100,000 Poets for Change. We began in 2011. It makes this 10 years of events. And this year, I'm surprised at how many people are actually participating because we didn't put out a heavy promotion because of the coronavirus. I thought it would be uncool to over push it. I don't want people to think we don't care about their health and what they're going through. So we kind of laid back, and but people are doing things all over the world, and I'm very, very happy about it. And it's a peace, justice, and sustainability thing. I think you all know about it. I'm assuming, I think you are. A lot of you have already organized events or participated in events in different places. around the world. And so it's really good to see you all. I don't really know what to say about it. You know, I mean, if anybody has a question, we added a part to it a couple years ago. My son passed away, and I added a thing called Read a Poem to a Child. And so along with the 100,000 Poets for Change initiative, we added the Read a Poem to a Child initiative. And anybody can sign up for that. Just contact me and say, I'm going to read a poem to a child, and we'll add you to the list. And so that's what we're doing. And that's who I am. And I have a poem. I mean, is there something else? I think that's enough. Everybody, I know you all, you know about 100,000 Poets for Change. But I'm very, very grateful to be here and to see you all. And makes me feel good, makes me feel connected. So thank you for having me. The poem I have here is called The Trumpeters. Cowards in white sheets, the skinhead cops and racists, the religious working men and women who think a woman's place is in the kitchen and children are to be seen and not heard, and believe people of color are here in America as a privilege, not a right, who blame Obama for 9/11, but he wasn't even president then. The ones who say racism didn't exist in America until Obama, the blowhards, the trumpeters, the ones who will murder to be in the driver's seat of a big white capitalist car, will never be in the driver's seat, will always be second-rate white people in the rich man's eye. They might as well be Black for their marginalized existence in the grand scheme of the upper-class American power elite. But still they buy into the lie with their heads up the ass of the real oppressors, the powerful whites who will never share a piece of the pie with their middle class and working class poor white cousins, who only see these ordinary folk, these regular people, as grist for the mill, unruly ignorance, who they can use to help them build their oligarchic empires, the front line of their marching band, the trumpeters, blowing the horn of oppression, blowing the horn of the white man's dream to rule the world, the white man's dream to carry guns in the street, free to murder kids in Sandy Hook, free to beat their wives and practice rape as a contact sport while they graduate from Stanford University with a big white degree, free to treat a woman as property like a piece of shit. These trumpeters, they blow and blow hard. The trumpeters, the 40%, maybe 50% of America who will sell their souls for the promise of ever elusive power. The good old Christians who spit in Christ's face and rape him on the cross. The ones that covet cruelty, the trumpeters, the patriotic trumpeters, the ones who think the USA is a page in an owner's manual, clear as day, that they can own democracy, rig and twist justice and truth to their self-interested lies and aspirations, that justice can be bought and sold as long as white people rule the world. The trumpeters, the ones who think the USA is a big fucking TV set as they slurp down their supersized cans of pharmaceutical sugar and poison. The trumpeters who mimic some hallmark illusion of the great white American way and lick the boots of a reality show star. The trumpeters, may they suffer the pain they wish on the poor, the weak, the abandoned, and rot in the hell of their own vanity, greed, envy, pride, lust, and sloth, and 10 more sins that are their legacy, the sins of the trumpeters. Oh, trumpeters, come on, blow, blow, blow your trumpets. Here comes your monster daddy. He comes to give you another script to read because you can't think for yourself, and he will fuck you in the ass, and he will never kiss you, never ever be like you or with you. He will only bleed you and bleed you, fodder for his wars, fodder for his ecocidal factories, fodder for his machineries of deception. Yes, you will be his robot army because you are, except it only trumpeters, only soulless slaves at your very core. Behind your brassiness, you are only a procession of cowards, and you will follow and pronounce your Yahoo independence as you walk to your hate-filled grave. You will follow the goose step with a high boot and genocide. Get in line, proud trumpeters. The future is yours. There's a banquet waiting for you beyond the gates of Valhalla. Come on, you are the lucky ones, the entitled ones, not only the desired guests for the feast, you are the feast itself. So bow down and open your collar. Your red-haired father is coming to devour you.
Thank you, Michael Rothenberg. And thank you for organizing all these years, 100,000 Poets for Change. Thank you very much. All right, next we have up Kashiana Singh, all right? Kashiana, can we unmute Kashiana?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening. All right. Thank you very much for having me. I am honored. I don't know what I can do to follow what I just heard, but I will try. I am a poet practitioner living in Chicago. I attempt to keep all my geographical homes within my poetry, and therefore my second chapbook is called Crushed Anthills. Thank you for having me here again. My poem today is called Country. Country. When did you stop listening? Become unwilling to look up, look away from your own opiate limbs, look away from the birthmarks on your skin, look away from the falling blisters of your eyes? When did you become so lazy that you let the claws of your feet burrow deep, trapped in your own blemished ground, unmoving even when being eaten alive by the blooming anguish of your people, by odors from floating carcasses of your soul, by the waves that beat against the sunken scales of your ghosts, by sordid drippings of pleas fleeing your own mouth. At this very moment, I am a lighthouse standing in watch. I am carving my solitary light into ripples, each ripple a caterpillar pupating, a butterfly pulsating to Panchkritya of a Tandav dance. Tandav dance, its wings flapping to the spitting fire of a trillion monarchs, unwilling to die a pause until you listen to the whistling of their alliterative song. They will circle you. They will circle you into an orchestrated garland, evacuating your cauldron of prayers and pledges until you hear their buzzing silent. They will drink incessantly of your matted milkweed. They will churn intemperate until you hear anew. For if you don't, an apocalypse is coming. It is coming closer and closer towards your shore. You have time now to gaze outwards and listen, to act before being engulfed into the whirlpool of growing stillness, to become the country we knew, to become the country we knew. Panchkritya, before I wrap, is, for anyone who doesn't know, is the 5 cycles of creation, maintenance, annihilation, concealment of the world. And Tandav, as everybody knows, is the dance of Shiva.
Thank you. We are speaking of Shiva today. Thank you, Kashiana Singh. Thank you very much. Wonderful. All right, we have next up Pam Yushik. Is she here?
I don't think so. Pam, if you're here under a different name, I hope you'll hit us up in the chat.
Pam? Okay, since we have an opening, Joshua Corwin, would you like to take the mic? Joshua Corwin?
Thank you. Sorry about that. Was doing a weird thing with, I guess, Zoom and all that jazz. You know, go figure. I'd like to, I'm Joshua Corwin, I guess a sentence, right? A sentence about me. I'm the author of Becoming Vulnerable. I teach poetry for neurodiverse individuals and autistic addicts in recovery. I'm actually working on a book with David Duffy, and yeah, here is a poem that I'm going to read. I'm going to read the beginning and end part of it because it's rather long, called Dear America that was in the 2020, it's coming up in the 2020 National Beat Poetry Foundation anthology, published with Local Gems Press. And I'm going to dawdle while doing it, by the way, because I wrote it dawdling. Dear America, I feel the solar Sinai drip, drop, slash oil-fueled hail, harvest heavenly star of David flames, vultures across the horizon. I hear helicopters above me. I hear them every day. Ambulances, cop cars, cyclic pitfalls, murky awareness, aristocratic heights. I want to cry. Tears whip heaven asunder. Flares devour flares in chemotherapy denial. Highlight tomorrow's anxiety shelter. I want to step outside and feel the breeze lift me 3 inches off the ground, away from the game of corpses in heaven's altitude chasms. Why do tears keep dwelling inside me? Close my eyes. I'm so tired, perturbed by petticoat consumers, draped in see-through tapestries of gum spam fury, with hygiene repositories and dust mite landmines filled with amorous spite. Lesbian creeds, postmortem atheists, flashlight hope, in nuclear clarity, sequins around new snacks, shattered oceans already dried up, azure forest, luxurious sky, and I let swaying lamplights go unnoticed, consequential to TV poison liberty and Satan carcinogenic Ubers into clouds, highways. They drove themselves. Those Thunberg signs read, the embers of tomorrow will be warning you tomorrow night. Revise your soul of dramas, dreams, crafts of politicians who depreciated ignorance, levitated justice from the earth, and floated into the sun where stars go to die. I feel your window pane stares, shatter mosaic smiles. In the holy shrine of now, I just want to scream and escape. Supernova, 7 billion sons, daughters, oracleless and isolated, half shirtless, in boxers, panties only, and a mask. Underneath the regalia, drag ethereal bodies across their homes, nations, the universe. Power cathedrals of money, shake hands, kiss residents, make love to lobbyists, and fear it. Dear America. Blah, 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 blah.
Joshua, 3 minutes, Joshua. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your reading.
That's it. In the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen. All right, next up we have Laura Mullen. Laura Mullen, is Laura Mullen here? Can we please unmute Laura Mullen?
Hi.
Laura Mullen, there we go, good. Unmute, please, Laura. There we go.
Yes, I did so. I think we crossed.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm Laura Mullen. I'm in New Orleans. If I'm in New Orleans, as I am, Louisiana, that means that I am on Chahata Yakni, or Choctaw, and Chitimaca land. And the poem I'm reading is called Lactorium. And your heartlessness and your longing for lies are like milk to me. And your self-harm and your scapegoating are like milk to me, like your rage and your unwillingness to pay taxes, your desire to buy cheap things, these are like milk. And your dirty wars and your drones are like milk to me, because of the words collateral damage and byproduct are so white. And your anxiety and your depression and your plastic and your failure to recognize the guilty above a certain level of influence are all so thick and creamy. And your tolerance for violent injustice, I drink this thickness. And your active shooter is like white milk to me, and your racism is a kind of milk, and the killing of children is like milk to me. The body left on the street is like milk, and your sexism is like milk to me. Your rape culture and your protection of the abuser who is white and male is exactly like milk to me. And your adoration of the richest and most powerful is like milk to me. And the years when you fail to work on a cure for the disease because you despise the afflicted, those long decades are like milk to me. And your guns are like milk to me, your precious guns more precious than anything. And the blood of the dead is like mother's milk to me. This spilling whiteness, the names of the dead and the grieving I go on swallowing. And your protection of corporate interests and banks is like milk to me. And your privatized, racist prison system is like milk to me. And your inadequate healthcare system is like milk to me. And your underfunded educational system failing, that's just like milk to me. And the pale word addicted erases everything. And justice has a white bandage poured over her gouged out eyes. And the word undocumented is full of vitamin D. And your Air Force and Navy are like milk, all the whiteness you pour into trouble spots for stability, spilling out, spreading out, blanking out, and the tears of those sleeping on cardboard and rags under the overpass, salty, salty milk. Because the word homeless is like the word milk. I drink it and drink it. It's like drinking sunlight. It builds strong bones and teeth. And the phrase can't hold down a job is like milk to me. And your bullying, your shaming, every way you hurt the spirit is like milk to me. And your worship of the fascist and your support of the dictator is cold like cold milk. And student debt and catastrophically failing infrastructure, and your love of the lies and the would-be legislator, these are just like milk to me. And your prescriptions for painkillers, the refills, the new prescriptions and medications to help you shit and help you stop shitting, and the anti-anxiety pills and the antidepressants that stopped working, and the new antidepressants that might be working or might not be working, and every pharmaceutical company lobbying doctors to prescribe more painkillers, white, and you're logging and mining and fracking and drilling, and every place ruined forever is now that it's ruined forever and uninhabitable, just like milk to me. And the end of languages, cultures, species, knowledges, ways of living is like milk. And your contempt and self-pity and fear are also like milk to me. And all the lives shrunk, deformed by your lies and imaginary needs are like milk to me. I drink and I'm drinking and I choke and go on, and it's endless, this white on white on white on white flag unfurling to drip from the edge of nothing into nothing forever, stinking of methane.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Laura. Okay, so before I turn the mic over to Mark to MC the next part of our program, I'd like to remind you it's 3 minutes, guys. And I would like to tell you about the Lit Bomb Zoom-A-Thon. We are having a Democratic fundraiser on a series of nights, October 10th, October 17th, October 24th. Some of the names you will see reading poetry are Erica Jung, Andrei Kudrescu, Margot Britashevsky, Patricia Spears-Jones. Many people are going to be showing up for this, and we intend to raise some money for the Democrats to have the Democrats win. So mark your calendars. October 10th, live at 5. October 17th, live at 5. October 24th, live by 5, the Lit Bomb Zoom-A-Thon. And do not miss. And also stick around next week for our next program. On the 26th, we're going to have Bob Holman, Janet Hamill, and Maureen Owen. So do not miss that show. Okay, great. I'm now going to turn the mic over to the lovely and talented Marc Vincenz. Marc, take it away.
Thank you, Larissa. So next up we have Madeline Ottenberg. Madeline, are you live?
Hi, everybody. Before becoming a multi-published poet in places like Mudfish, Rattle, and Margie, I was a photojournalist and street theater performer. This poem is, How Do You See Inside a Vortex? Chinese scientist next to homeless woman on F train. Orthodox family coughs. Stereotypes go viral. Whole worlds hooked in place on the news. Whites and blacks, blacks and blues. Can't order nevermore for Black lives unmattered. Can't order pandemic to be demoted to night terror. For reality to win over virtual. Only nevermore we can reach is to no longer swallow our whole tongue, just the tip when necessary. How do you see inside the crack of a windpipe replayed around the world? My recurring nightmare of Black Boston professor I didn't marry. Police a threesome on our daily walks, our hand-holding, their flashlights dimming our longing. I let those backward winds push me away from our path, looted. How do you go from not breathing to breathing? Inhale your breath, exhale your breath. Inhale their breaths, exhale their breaths. Didgeridoo, circling the globe, blows the knee off the earth's neck, smashes it to ground with only one leg to stand on, ignorance topples, and we rise on our black, brown, yellow, white, red feet, toenailed, starred, and striped.
Thank you, Madeline. Thank you.
Thank you.
And next up we have J. Martin Strangeweather. Are you live, J. Martin?
Yes, I'm here. Boy, it's fantastic to be here. Okay, I come from words, and when words are done with me, I will fade back into the books that I've written, the residue of me. I'm from Santa Ana. I co-founded the Santa Ana Literary Association. Okay, let's jump into this. Recipe for human consciousness. Take one fundamental thread of creation and stretch it across eternity, laying out the tripwire. Then wait patiently. It might take an infinity or two, but something will eventually come along and spring the mechanism, triggering the formation of a universe. Wondering who or what trips the wire is a trap in itself. In some form or another, the answer always ends up being you. You're the one who's to blame for this mess, and forgetfulness is no excuse for leniency. Allow the universe a fraction of a second to cool, then strain the leftover matter from the antimatter, regulating gravity. Adjust the frequency setting until you find a stable quantum of electromagnetic action. Settings may vary from universe to universe. After stabilizing the cosmological substratum, calibrate the energy distribution matrix to E equals mc squared and set the subatomic particles aside for approximately 500 million years, allowing the mixture enough time to congeal into stars and galaxies. Once the first batch of stars begins to go supernova, stir in the remaining elements and let the universe simmer for an additional 10 billion years, occasionally checking for signs of life. Remember, in order to destroy your enemies, you must first create them. When programming rudimentary biological algorithms, it's important not to confuse DNA codes with RNA codes. Also, during the early phase of biosphere construction, be sure not to mistake the greenish-blue algae button for the bluish-green mold button, or the violet wire for the ultraviolet wire. Try not to get your wires crossed in general. The initial development of life requires infernal conditions. You were born from seas of magma and rivers of hellfire, cataclysmic earthquakes, poisonous sulfuric clouds, hellish volcanic steeples overflowing with lava under a fiery bombardment of asteroids. Once the earliest multicellular life forms take shape, soak the biosphere in primal fear for 2 to 3 billion years. Evolution may vary from biosphere to biosphere. At the first sign of civilization, pour in a liberal dose of greed and sprinkle with shame. Wait approximately 10,000 years for modernity to occur. Then massacre 11 million Native American Indians. Exterminate 6 million Jews. Execute 2 million Cambodians. Butcher 1 million Armenians. Slaughter 800,000 Rwandans. Eradicate 700,000 Australian Aborigines. And drop 2 atomic bombs that wipe out 200,000 Japanese civilians. Intentionally starve 15 million Hindus, 3 million North Koreans, and 1 million Tibetans. Enslave 3 million Africans in the name of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, knowing full well that all men are created equal. Collect the blood and tears resulting from these atrocities and use the accursed liquid to marinate humanity's collective unconscious for 7 to 10 generations until irreparable psychogenetic damage occurs, transforming every thought, every utterance, and every perception into something monstrous, manufacturing a zombified world of radioactive oceans under X-ray skies, everything you touch contaminated with tiny, invisible monsters. Increase the level of dishonesty to 1 billion lies per second and check frequently for mass extinction while chanting, the fragrant lotus only grows from the muck of the swamp. Praying for all of these sour grapes to rot into heady wine. Thank you.
Thank you, J. Martin. Once again, we would like to reiterate 3 minutes, please, not 7, 10, or 15, but thank you. Next up, we have Karen Newberg. Are you live, Karen?
Okay, am I unmuted? Yes. I'm Karen Newberg. Hi, everyone. This is a great reading. I live in Brooklyn, New York, and 2 of my most recent books are Pursuit by Kelsey Press, and what I'm going to read from The Elephants Are Asking, which addresses the environmental crisis. This is called What Seems Solid. We're holding what seems solid enough, though we're aware close by is crumbling. And we quickly think cookies, which leads to a lively conversation about particles, and we think strings, and we think theory, and we're relishing our clever minds and congratulating ourselves, no longer thinking winners, but glad to be among the placers. And then gradually we become aware of the rumbling sound coming out of everywhere, and there's no time to think, it's time to act. And whatever is coming has already risen past our knees, but we don't think apocalypse, for we never believe that story. But somehow the word is roaring in our ears, and we think again, time to act, yet we're standing here thinking and saying it, and we're not acting. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Next up, we have DeWitt Henry. Is DeWitt Henry live with us?
I hope so. You got me?
We do.
Okay. So I'm DeWitt Henry. I'm the founding editor of Plowshares 50 years ago. And my third memoir, Endings and Beginnings, is coming out from Mad Hat later this year. This is called On Games. Ludology, the study of games. Ludicrous, silly, playful, magister ludi. Games of chance and skill, of brain and brawn, mind and body, disciplines called sports, competitions for prizes, each with rules, goals, and stakes. For amusement, escape, or exercise, to teach life skills, especially war, to educate, diversions for the idle, child's play, animal play, go fetch. Bridge or poker, parlor charades, game shows on TV, blood sports, gladiators fight to death, Christians and lions. The most dangerous game, human hunter versus human quarry or fair game. Hunger Games, Bergman's knight plays chess against death. Let the games begin. The only response to a child's grave is to lie down before it and play dead, wrote the playful poet Bill Knott. Of course, Knott himself played dead in protest of the Vietnam War, proclaiming his later work to be posthumous. Get serious. Stop fooling around. I'm tired of all your games. I'm not playing. I'm serious. Players, play boy, mate, dating game, Games aren't for keeps, are they? In French, a gamine means a young woman, playful and sexually appealing. The feminine form of gamin, meaning urchin, waif, or playful naughty child. Fun and games. Out of luck Rosalind when urged to be married by her cousin vows, from henceforth I will, cousin, devise sports, such as falling in love. Cuz cautions, prithee do to make sport withal, but love no man in good earnest, nor go further in sport, neither than with safety of a pure blush thou mayst in honor come off again. Roz directly falls for a wrestler at first sight. The cakes and ale gang pranks Malvolio, supposes, practices, jests, practical jokes, no fun for butts. I'll be revenged on the whole pack of you. No fair cheating. Rosie Louise jumps in at the end of the Boston Marathon. Rigged games for suckers. I'm game, she's got game. What's your game? i.e. racket. Games for everybody wins? Zero-sum games, nobody wins. Game over.
Thank you, DeWitt.
Thanks.
And next up we have Bertha Rogers from the Catskills.
I'm here. Okay, I live in the Catskills of New York, and I'm a poet and a translator and a visual artist. And I'm going to read a poem called What Want Brings. Gray rain seeps through the fall of played out clouds, loops among hills, ragged mountains, flexes and thins cut contoured fields. This here, nearly parallel to another September, when I, after tramping aged ley lines, leaned into standing stones that gently mocked my bent. Oh, I was in love with hardness, rocks tilting over landscape's green edge, words riven with meaning. I thought, mindless I, that I still owned some forever, and so walked right into those stones, touched their weighted flanks, shifted their quiet as if they were my true grandfathers, good old men who had only my best in their storied senses, showed in gray and grizzled faces, deep listening. I wasn't the first, last, how many others waited there, forgot what they were given until, in some gray-green season, those moments, like gouged out uplands, reach, returned, haggard and lonely gift. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bertha.
Thank you.
And next up, we have Susie, who is down in Florida.
Hi, I'm Susie. I've written a number of 100,000 Poets for Change poems and a whole book of them. This is the first one, Big Guns. I have witnessed the boy with the koi tattoo throwing 3 Thai Timothy into my more battered Ford. He has big guns. I see their naked movement. I have listened to my neighbors blow up a couple $100 in sing-song rockets and ammo. They shoot their big guns. It upsets the horses and chickens. I have to tell them again that some people are stupid, sad, brutal. And then one night, the last moon of winter comes across. There's a man in my bed, my cheekbone to his bicep. He has big guns. I used to work horse farms, even racehorse babies. You get agile with a pitchfork, a tractor. You get big guns. I have only minutes before I return to the cloud. So what happens when pi is translated from integers into alphabet? The circle unclosed is a spiral. It's always dawn and twilight and noon and now in the rainbow forest When the machines are silent, small birds sing across space. It is spring on our ancient sandbar, and we ought to emerge from our frozen grass and amnesia. A hawk has a soprano of 5 notes and a sense of the world equal to ours, but utterly hers. There are too many of us, and we forget broken men in dark rooms. We refuse to hear the crow calling. In our cowardly caverns, we masturbate. We invent machines, and when we go among each other, we are blind to all but our monstrous dreams, our metaphors of demons. There's the sound of bird feet on the porch roof, then the power of those wings in her search for seeds. Her flight is casually Top Gun. I hear the cardinal's incandescent refrain, a mourning dove, an airplane, the machines churning above, shitting chemicals. In the auditory landscape is solace, is sanity, lest we forget as we swell ourselves this dove's 6 notes sliding. So shout out to all y'all children. Every day is now a test in that bitch class called life skills. The top score goes to elegant music and allusions to historically good manners. If these squiggles translate into audibles, let yourself listen. Breathe in the world. The horror is in the machines, the big guns, the fleshy power and pleasures of our mortality, our onistic intoxication, our cannibalism, or being rude, really lesser of the world's species. Bye.
Thank you so much, Susie. Next up, we have Daya Mani. Are you there, Daya?
I don't think so. Are you here under a different name? Maybe if you'll hit us in the chat, we'll unmute you. I don't think someone's in the chat.
Okay,
Yeah,
then we'll go on to Marc Ducharme. I think I saw him here. There you are.
There we go. Can you hear me?
We can.
Beautiful. Okay. I'm Marc Ducharme. My most recent book is We the Monstrous, Script for an Unrealizable Film. And I'm going to read a poem called American Dirge 1. It begins with 2 epigraphs. The first is from Charles Olson. What does not change is the will to change. And the second is from Bernadette Mayer. Where grows the alyssum to cure our rage? 1. What does not change changes us, breaks inside the mirror where we dare not plunge outside the rain, rage, is all we're left inside for. Where does the sun go when I'm away from myself, moving still outside of frame? In dreams, we open up. The dream is on fire. In the smoke outside the page where we open up and there, in fears, become engorged. 2. This rage that eats at all our hearts, rage of others who don't sing, but glare like hungry monsters at a world they're not exalted in, at a history not theirs, exclusively. What do you do with them who expect so much and care for nothing but their monster thoughts and fears? How can we live with them? How escape into a world where memories ache and burn, till grift they soon become, in memory's dark capital, where in dooms we quake? Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And before I hand it over to Jonathan for the next set, once again, please bear in mind we have the Lit Bomb Zoom-A-Thon Democratic fundraiser October 10, co-hosted with Jonathan, Larissa, and I, with an additional person, which is Tara. Tara, is it Reed? Jonathan?
Campbell.
Tara Campbell. On October 17, it will be joined by Indran Amathayagan, and October 24 with Patricia. Larissa? You there?
Patricia Spears-Jones.
Patricia Spears-Jones.
Patricia Spears-Jones, yes.
Exactly. And on October...
And many wonderful readers.
And on October 10, we have Andrei Cordrescu appearing to, support the Democratic Party, among others. So please, don't forget that. We're hoping to raise, whatever we can for the Democratic Party, as much as poetry can raise. So also please let your friends know. Anyone who is considering donating to the Democratic Party, they might like to do it through our little Lit Bomb venture here. And now we move on to Jonathan, who will introduce the next set.
Thank you, Mark. And real quick, I'd like to shout out Rodney A. Brown, who's here today. Rodney A. Brown and I have been working hard on his new book, Type Scenes, and we just put up his website, typescenes.com, which I hope you'll check out when you get a chance. And our next reader is Michael Anania. Let me unmute you, Michael. Did I hit that?
Can you hear me?
Great, we can.
Okay. I'm Michael Anania. I've been at this for a while. The poem I'm going to read is called Threnody. Threnody is a funeral song, seemed appropriate for today. How do we move from sorrow to sorrow, from grief to grief? As finches move in flight from struggle to glide to struggle, clutching at the air's brief substance, or as gulls gracing the wind, or night bugs mad for light. Loss is how things work, passing, they say, into what is at every moment becoming the past. Things spin around us and we spin with them, tatters flung among tatters. At some distance fray appears to be line, scatter and swirl, circle. Speeches catch in the throat, vision curves backward, breath consumes breath. Places matter because they seem to endure: city, street, plaza, landscape, willow tree, water faucet, headstone. Apprehension is constant fear. Each evening's parallax, shades and shadows change places, names like keepsakes, relics in time, lifted and held into the darkness that is, as always, impending. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. That was excellent. Round of applause for Michael Anania, please. Did I say your name right that time? Did I say your name right that time, Michael Anania?
Oh, no. Mark insists on saying it in Italian, and I say it in English as Anania.
Anania. Thank you. All right, next up we're going to hear from Dennis Fermento. Dennis, will you tell us a little something about yourself?
Sure. I'm from New Orleans, lived in Slidell, Louisiana, and I am one of the original organizers of 100,000 Poets for Change, both in New Orleans and here in St. Tammany Parish. The poem I'm going to read, I've been going through some old work lately, and I pulled out this poem of commemorating the passing of Tom Dent, who was one of the founders of the Theater and Poetry Workshop of the Free Southern Theater, and also took a turn as president of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival before it went totally corporate. So this is upon his passing for Tom Dent. In the marrow of the desert palm, something looks like a bitter pill dropped from the dream balcony with the power of art to knock out history with a love kick. Roberts, the bus driver, prays, "Let me zoom past the sun and tell the stars, ride on, mamas." certain secret messages are no secret, revealed to someone who wrapped himself in a lake of fog and lay down in explicit dreams. He thought no one was listening, but you know it. He was talking nonstop, and we got a bunch of it on tape. When an old man dies, it's like losing entire libraries. All or nothing, it's still everything to the voice of desire, pleading, don't, stop, when the crowds of his lovers from every stratum of his past return and whisper to him again all the secrets of his poems that have the density of dreams. Stripped of my own death metal, I might begin to listen. Death is getting harder and poetry more expensive every day, dripping like fire from the nightly kitchens on the moon, from which Mingus tells us certain people shouldn't come back while we're searching for a nickel at the bottom of the pool. Thank you.
Dennis, thank you so much. That was excellent.
You're welcome.
All right, next up is Big Mike from New York City. Let's see, Big Mike, did I unmute you successfully? Big Mike?
There, okay.
Wonderful.
Okay, Big Mike was crowned Best Neptune back in 2004 at the annual Coney Island Mermaid Parade, and then again last year in 2019. So I have a long-running relationship with Coney Island. Okay. Could you get the door for me there, please? I'm hobbling around on two canes. Oh, are you going inside? Yeah, sure, thanks. Chunky young girl, glasses peeking over her essential blue and white paper face mask, opens the front door to Dunkin' Donuts on Union Square East, then gets online to the takeout service-only counter behind me. Observing the new mandatory 6-foot-plus social distancing guidelines, I select 2 cold 20-ounce plastic bottles of Poland Spring mineral water from the store's refrigerator. Once I get to the front of the line, a handwritten note in black Sharpie over the cash register announces, no cash, credit cards only. Oh shit, having decades earlier maxed out every single one of my credit cards, now dependent upon hard currency for every single one of my contemporary purchases, I go to return my selections to the refrigerated cooler from whence I had removed them and turn to the front door again empty-handed. You know, man, it's the New World Order, the rise of the Antichrist, a cashless society. Your credit card number is the mark of the beast. It's in the Bible, man, the book of Revelation, 666. In the near future, all Americans are going to have to get the mark of the beast, the Antichrist, 666, tattooed on their foreheads just to make a purchase. If you don't have the barcode of 666 inked on your forehead, you're excluded from a consumer-driven society. You can't buy anything. Read the book of Revelations, man. It's all in there, man. These are the end times, man. The Armageddon, the apocalypse, the end of the world. And that sign in the cash register is just the first omen. I'd like to buy that water for you. I turn around to see the same chunky girl with the paper face mask pull out her credit card. I can give you the cash for them. No, I'd really like to buy you that water. I'll put it on my card, okay? Sure, thanks. Not to be greedy, I only take 1 bottle of Poland Spring. It's only water. It's not like I'm asking her to buy me a beer or anything like that. She buys a double-iced coffee latte, swipes her card. The Bengali cashier scans my bottle with the laser gun for the barcode. Maybe this is the end of times after all. My name's Big Mike, thanks. My name's Maggie. I attempted to extend my hand in a handshake of appreciation, but Maggie's chubby little hands are sheathed in those ubiquitous pair of blue-tinted latex gloves that everyone seems to wear in these latter days of the COVID-19 plague. I can't even think of trying to make out with her, and with that now ubiquitous blue and white paper face mask covering her lips, so will have to be a simple nod of the head and thanks, while still maintaining that state-sanctioned 6 feet of social distancing. That was called 666.
Thank you, Mike. That was excellent.
Thank you.
You talk about the end of the world like you're skeptical. Yeah.
I've seen the end of the world so many times. It's trite now.
Fair enough. All right, next up is Ilari Pass.
Oh.
Let's see. There we are.
Hi.
Hi, Ilari.
Hi, thank you very much. Malari Pass. I'm originally from Maplewood, New Jersey. I now live in Greensboro, North Carolina. And I was recently a finalist for a poem called Inlet in Cream City Review. And here's a poem called Mosquito versus Godzilla. The death I die every day is the idea of constantly being made invisible. That invisibility comes from a devaluation of what it means to be Black, which comes from a lack of empathy. From slavery up to George Floyd, I'm here to make space for Blackness to be visible. My words that I write must show you how invisible you are to me because you are used to it. When you make me visible, you can paint me in a light that doesn't look anything like me, which I have no control. There is something amazing about my being Black. I make myself visible. It is a power what I have shaped into. A kind of life. I had my unsung heroes. My son needs to know that his life is worth something to change the landscape of the world. All of the people who have come before us, what is left for younger generations. My one hand holding tight my other hand. Come celebrate with me that every day, something that has tried to kill me and has failed. I can't be anything but hopeful doing this work, like a mosquito going up against Godzilla. I am not going to topple you, but I am going to bite you. Thank you.
Wonderful, Laurie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have John Weswick.
Hi, so I'm John Weswick and I'm unmuted. I have an eclectic background of physics, Zen, martial arts and stuff, and I write too. I wanted to read something hopeful today, but this is about the best I could do. It's called Looking for America. We didn't find it in Baltimore or Huntsville, not in Tucson, Seattle, Philly, or Washington, D.C. Kangaroo courts, rigged elections, cops beating suspects in back rooms, the poor barred from hospitals, families with both parents working going under. That ain't America. So with the help of a 58-foot trawler yacht, the Able Marie, 6 of us went looking. We boarded in Valparaiso, Chile, sailed through Panama up to Halifax, and shadowed container ships across the North Atlantic. Where did America go? Antwerp, Rotterdam, Hamburg, different players, same crooked game. Marseille, Paris, Jeddah, Dubai, Mumbai, Singapore, Hong Kong, Kobe, not there either. Still seeking our lost country, we steer toward the Southern Cross. For now, America exists only on this teak deck, washed with spray and tossed by 40-foot waves. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, John. Thanks so much for coming today. Is Smitha here? I don't see her. Smitha, if you're here, will you hit us up in the chat if you're here under a different name? Okay, I think John Sticky just missed the window to sign up, and he's here today. So I'm going to ask him to read if Smitha's not here. John, can you hear me? Or can you unmute?
Yes. I'm sorry, it's John Stickney, and I am a, I apologize. I am a poet from, originally from Cleveland, Ohio, who now lives in Wilmington, North Carolina. And I bring hopeful news of your October surprise. Your October surprise, alien semen, Clorox cupcakes, now with pumpkin spice. Our COVID-19 cure is curated and approved by the FDA, copyright. The full list of ingredients, while still a state secret. does include the recommended daily dose of reconstituted plasma, copyright, hydrochloroquine, copyright, UV light rays, copyright, with a delivery system consisting of a variety of implements to be inserted in various orifices. One preferred by doctors, copyright, is the Mushroom Wonder, copyright, with a 2-speed light vibration system, patent pending. Our proprietary disinfectant, a mix of Clorox and bleach, and Trump's Golden Waters, copyright. Trump's Golden Waters is an exclusive formulation of alien semen harvested from Area 51 and other flavoring elements. Only 1 tablet a day in the morning and you will be COVID-free. All systems go. Remember our right-thinking motto, where one system goes, all systems go. Trump's miracle cure will make you feel like a ventilator has replaced your old dirty lungs. Buy today. Copyright Trump International. Thanks.
Thank you so much, John. Sorry about getting your name wrong. That was a wonderful poem. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have L.A. Fellerman. Let's see here. I don't know LA, and I don't see that name in the chat. LA, if you're here, will you type something into the chat window? No LA Fellerman? Okay. Is that Laura Fellerman?
Thank you. I didn't realize I wasn't showing up. Hi, Laura Fellerman from Iowa City. My poem is Sunken. The main garden dwells below street level in a depression at 27th and Capitol. Conceived in 1930 as a make-work project by Lincoln City Fathers. Questions. Which one of the fathers gazed on the neighborhood dumping ground and imagined swapping in its opposite? What circumstances blind eyes to the real and instead favor potentiality? How much capital must a person have behind his name before his schemes become civic planning rather than childish irrationalities? Out of luck men were paid $6.40 per week to garden 2 8-hour shifts in the winter, removing trash and reassembling rocks to evoke an English mountain scene in the prairie. Questions. Which neighborhood inherited the Depression's trash? Where did the garden's neighbors dispose of their waste after their dump site was repurposed? Did their cast-offs mound in the edges of their yards or in the cobweb corners of their basements? At some time in their former fortunes, had any of the unlucky gardeners ever enjoyed the mountains? The following spring, the upper garden mimicked that of Sissinghurst Castle. White turtlehead, white foxglove, white iris, white caledonia, white nicotiana, white blossoms to glow in moonlight, white blossoms to release ethereal, healing calm. Questions. What if white isn't your color? What if your wisdom teaches white equals blight? What other color could you go to for healing? What varieties would you plant to restore calm? What if in the light of the moon, you become suspicious? Where and when would you locate an alternate otherworldly?
Wonderful, Laura. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to close it out with a very patient Eric Grunwald. Eric, thanks for waiting so long and closing us out.
Thanks. I was afraid you'd forgotten me.
No
So a little bit about me. I'm an ESL and writing instructor in Boston, a poet, translator, former and maybe future No Promises fiction writer, Samaritan's volunteer, former managing editor at Agni, and all around hypocritical Luddite. So this is a sonnet called Eaglet. Inside me lives a starving eagle chick, natal down, still white, egg tooth sharp, beak stretched agape for love never fed. The wretch cajoles constantly, and avian quick espying you through some metamorphic magic he behemoths, and I can't catch us swooping. Sudden clubby chum, near lech, joker, yellow eagle eyes vampiric. Rendering you genuine service, expecting nothing back, is the one rein the bird will take. It calms the craving pain, and thus freed, I seek below your surface. You like me now. Fresh hot meat for artful chick. Never trust my regard is heartfelt. Thank you for this opportunity and a great reading series all summer. Thank you.
Eric, thank you so much. All right, everybody give it up for our readers.
Thank you, Eric.
And real quick, I'd like to tell you about our next two shows. Larissa and Marc have told you about the wonderful Democratic fundraisers we're doing on October the 10th, 17th, and 24th. And before them, next Saturday, we have Janet Hamill, Maureen Owen, and Bob Holman reading, September the 26th. And October 3rd, we'll have the Epic Rights Press Showcase. Four of Epic Rights Press's writers. We have William Taylor Jr., Julie Valen, Wolfgang Karstens, and Todd Cirillo. Both I think will be wonderful shows as we get ready for the fundraiser. And yeah, that's our show tonight. Thanks so much, Michael Rothenberg, for being here. Thanks everyone else for coming. Larissa, Marc, is there anything you'd like to say to close us out?
Everybody, thank you for your contributions tonight. You guys were wonderful. Definitely come see us next week and October 3rd for the bad boys and girls of Epic Right Press and support our fundraiser. Black Lives Matter. Make them matter. Be safe, love, and thank you.
By the way, if anybody wants to participate and read a poem to a child, or any of the 100,000 Poets for Change wants to do anything, you can do it. We can do it next week. Is the 26th is our global day, but a lot of people are doing things in October, November. So feel free to contact me at any time, and I love to have your participation.
What's your last name again, Michael?
Michael Rothenberg. And I'm on Facebook, and you can get me there, or the 100TPC, 100TPC.org. There's a sign up thing there, but feel free to contact me, friend me. Good to see you, and thank you very much for having me. It was really, really fun.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you for us. Thank you for 100,000 Posts for Change.
And this one is in remembrance of our BG, yeah? Okay. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Good night. And be safe.
You too.